You're gonna have to go in there and share your screen. So people on Zoom can see the plans too.
All right,
Under
where's
share,
that?
There's a menu on the bottom, see share,
Yeah.
so go there. And then you can pick the screen. On one.
Right here. Good.
Can people on Zoom see the screen? Are we muted?
I don't think so.
Can anyone hear us on Zoom?
Yep, we can see the screen.
Thank you.
No. Okay, I've got minutes from November 25th. And 5 decisions. Start with the minutes from November 25th. I need a motion and a second and a vote.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. Motion by Kelly, second by Dan, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained, motion's carried. First resolution. Approval of a rear yard setback for Abdul Kurdzich at 6647 Kirkville Road. Same thing, we'll need a motion and a second vote. Joe?
Second.
Second. Kelly, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. Howard Brodsky's got 2 resolutions. First one. At 101 DeWitt Shire, approving a front yard setback of 7.7 feet on the north side of the principal structure. Same thing, we'll get a motion and a second vote.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Kelly. Second by Daniel, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. Second, for Mr. Brodsky's approval of a front yard setback of 2.5 feet on the west side of the principal structure. Okay. No. You can vote, but I wouldn't make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Motion by Cal, second,
Second.
Max, P. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. Fourth. Sunoco, parking space reduction of 3 spots for Sunoco, Heath and Waddy at 6325 Thompson Road. Motion second and vote. By Dan. Second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained, motion's carried. Last but not least, this resolution is a denial of 1 additional attached sign for Shake Shack.
I move to deny and accept that finding.
Okay, motion by Dan, second
Second.
by Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained, motion's carried. I think we're good. I don't anticipate Jamie coming 7 minutes late, so let's call the first case. I've got the notice here.
Did I make a motion? I abstained from. Brodsky's actually, my apologies.
The 101 DeWitt Shire.
All right, let's go back. Let's do the resolution for Howard Brodsky, the second one. Front yard setback of 2.5 feet on the west side of the principal structure. I have a motion from Kelly to approve. Do I have a second? Second by Joe, all in favor? Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. Good catch, Max.
Thanks.
First five, eight.
Our first application is for Sunoco. Mr. Murphy, are they on the?
William Murphy.
So they think.
Oh, no, sorry, Salve Bank, I apologize. Before we get started, we usually read a notice. Are you willing to waive reading the notice, or would you like to?
Yeah, you can read the notice, sure. We prefer you waive it.
Okay. Waive the notice too, I mean, I know the notice, I know what the variances are we're requesting.
I'm happy to just take you through them.
Is there anyone in the audience for this one?
They're just two
On the Zoom.
members of Solid Bank staff that have joined via the Zoom this evening.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
You want me to pull something up, just let me know.
Yeah, you could pull up maybe the site plan or, you know, any of the drawing package, so. Gonna guess probably this one would be a good one to pull up. Essentially what we're asking for, we have a 2-entry drive-through off of the bank. Which is gonna enter through the shopping plaza at Wegmans on James Street. It's not the big one that most of you are familiar with, it's the one that's a little closer to the city of Syracuse line. The drive-through and the property is a triangle. So it creates a little bit of a tight spot, but what we have is 4 parking spots for each drive-through lane. And the window lane for the drive-through requires 5 for your ordinance. So we're asking for a 1-car variance in that manned window stacking. The bank anticipates a client load of somewhere around 20 vehicles a day. This is not like a high value drive-through food type situation where you might get lots of stacking. This is much different use. The ATM window also has 4. The ATM only requires 4. The manned window actually requires a little bit more. They then proceed to exit via 1 lane through a parking area. So we have 2 curb cuts coming out onto the inner plaza drive. The second variance we're requesting is for 1 additional sign. 3 are what we'd like to propose and only 2 are allowed, but we actually face 2 streets. This East Manley Street's there, and we have the James Street, and then we have the plaza side as well. So we're just trying to put a small sign. We're under all of the areas, it's just the quantity of the attached sign on the gable facade of the building.
Couldn't get this first one, so. I tried to see.
Okay,
I went to the second one and then went back and it looked at.
so this is a photometric lighting study showing the lighting impacts, but you can see the site plan here.
See the survey.
There's the blank site, and that's the parcel right here. That we're working with. This is a county sewer easement, which provides a little bit of a challenge for us to work around. But that lighting study may be the best drawing that. I don't know if there's any more if we scroll up or down. But this, you can sort of see the site plan, the same parking here. We have a curb cut in for 2 lanes, 4 cars stacking. They then combine and exit. This is 2-way traffic to this parking. And then we have a sidewalk here that meets up with an existing sidewalk that comes out here.
Where's the sign that you're requesting?
We have a sign on this facade, a sign on this facade, and a sign on this facade.
One that needs a variance is the one facing into the plaza.
This
way?
facade,
Yeah, that.
This way.
yeah, because this is facing James Street.
Yeah.
This is facing James Street and East Main.
Where's the front door?
The front door is right here. So we're asking to put the sign on this side facing the parking and Wegmans. I should also add that the building in this orientation is perpendicular to the Wegmans facade. There's another drawing in your package that shows more of the site in context.
Oh, sorry.
And that survey will show it too. If you pan down to the bottom, this is the corner of the building. So we are parallel with it. But that's where this corner here, this long wall says Wegmans on it. It's in the plaza.
James Street, right? And when the board has seen signage variances, obviously, the other one he's requesting is, I don't believe we've seen it, but with the bank teller lane, we're supposed to allow a minimum of 5 cars to stack, and what Mr. Murphy's requesting is to allow 4 cars to stack there, just to be clear about that. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah,
You say stack, you mean like
Wait for,
in line?
wait to
Yes.
use it, yep.
This is a really tough site. We've been working with them for about 6 months now on this site. Because of the easement Bill just showed and the shape of the lot, and also because they have really 2 front yards, you can't have a drive-through lane in the front yard, so it took a lot of work to get to the point where the drive-through is where it is and the stacking.
Want to speak a little bit about the planning board?
Yeah, so the planning board, again, has been working with the Murphys for about 6 months now, trying to get to a site plan that works here, and it started out with a lot more variances we thought we would need, and gotten it down to this point, and you know, the information they provided on the number of cars that would be going through the drive-through sound like the stacking wouldn't really be an issue. Because it is a corner lot, you know, they have those 2 signs, the other sign would face in for the driveway that comes in to serve Wegmans, so really, that's kind of the front yard of their building, even though that's not their front yard, so we thought the sign was
It's
reasonable.
a weird aligned
weird-
building, so that's why needs
It's a weird
very
alignment, it's a
parking lot.
weird shape, it's
It's
got a
very
bunch of
small.
easements.
Is it relatively small to their big branches?
it's a bank branch,
Okay.
it's around 2,500 square feet, it's got 1 bathroom, a small break room. Couple of offices, a little conference room, lobby. The safe, the server room, a little mop closet with a furnace, I mean, it's not, you know, a huge big branch building or anything, close to that. The drive-through, as Alana pointed out, really, it can't be on the East Manlius Street or James Street side. And you didn't think the Wegmans parking side was appropriate either. And the shape of the lot being a triangle, it really just creates some unique things to have to work with.
It eventually came up on my computer.
Did you get it?
Yeah, it eventually came up. The second and third pages.
And we even talked about trying to get more land and all that, but there are all these
I would love
easements
to
going
show
through
it,
the
but
site.
Yeah, the
They didn't-
easement,
they didn't give us anything.
So the sign, I mean, the sign seems like it's really just a simple identification sign, but you're saying all the other signage size requirements are met.
yeah, yep,
So
we're
it's just
less
the
than
one-
120,
Yeah.
like we meet all of the requirement, and we've also worked to create the whole plaza signage package or multi-tenant sign package. There we go.
Point of our existing
Is there gonna be a monument sign?
There is no monument sign proposed at present. We talked about a monument sign with Solvay Bank and Wegmans early on. It was kind of deemed that that's like its own thing and that we didn't wanna hold this project up to work on the monument sign. So because that's more of a whole plaza type of sign, we're gonna leave that as something separate. It may come before you again, but hopefully that wouldn't need a variance. If it does,
Yeah, that should just.
we would be glad. We separated it to keep it simpler.
From my perspective, the biggest concern is the public safety, so we wanna make sure that people can find where they're supposed to go
Yeah.
to get into the bank. And you've got 2 signs facing roads that don't have entrances to the bank, well, which is fine, but now we've got lots of different signs and
Yeah, so
Oh,
those signs are
okay.
allowed by right. You know, that it's, and I will say, when you're at this light, there's a photo study that shows a bunch of photographs from the site that we submitted. To show the sight lines in and through the site and what you're gonna see. We have a model that we've brought to meetings that we can walk around this site.
so from the
Um,
front, from when people drive in,
Yeah, right here,
They
this
can
is
see the-
very visible.
they can see that sign.
Yeah, and this is very visible from everywhere over here.
Gotcha.
But not the front.
but not the sign over the front door.
Right.
The sign over the front door is for when you get into the parking lot,
Right.
you're looking for where do I go? I just saw a sign for Solvay Bank, where is it?
Yeah,
It's where the Solvay Bank sign is.
it is a weird spot.
If you drop, there's a bunch of small trees that
Yeah.
create lots of like windows into the lot. And without the monument sign or any good directional signage, we don't wanna create confusion. We've studied a bunch of different curb cut scenarios and we are putting in the sidewalk that doesn't exist. To connect this to here and this sidewalk infrastructure, so. I think we're doing a good job with the public safety part of it. I also think the 2 additional crosswalks there are gonna add some increased public safety. And I think all of the turning in to get there. It just will slow people down and slow traffic in the plaza down, so that ultimately is a better thing too. Cause right now, people do tend to try to rip around this pretty quick. And if you've now got, you know. Turning happening in a little different place, it will, I think, change the behavior. And I don't think it's negative. The 4-lane stacking should be more than enough to accommodate the needs of the lane.
Yeah, well, I don't speak for the whole board, I'm okay with the 4-lane stacking. As everybody in the board's already heard me a million times, like, I just think there's a lot of signs.
Yeah, I don't disagree, I just think the odd nature of the site has kind of
And I think in this case, people need to find it, and if you don't, and the 30 story.
Yeah.
It's gonna cause confusion.
yes.
It's part of the nature of this project.
Just the fact it's over.
Yeah, I mean, right,
It's not like another side of the building that.
Assuming the front door sign would be relatively small.
They're all the same size, they're in the. Package that Josh Corbeck has over.
Are they in the missing documents? Yeah, the sign, the actual signs.
There's a sign page that shows them all and shows the areas of
Hit
them
the
all.
download button. And then hit, yeah, just download it.
Josh, why didn't you
Open
say
the
that?
file, and open it, no, it's hidden under the E down, yep, click that. Now just give it a minute, and it'll load.
Sorry,
It's
it's just
30
a,
minutes, it just takes a minute.
yeah, it's a lot of drawings.
There we go.
But there's the whole Wegmans, there's the
there it is,
whole
that's what we were
Wegmans.
looking for.
Here are some images that show where the signage tucks up in the gable, you know, it's not super large, they're not obtrusive, they're tucked in the gables. If you keep going, there's elevations that show it in contextual size. And then if you go a little more, there's a full page dedicated to signage. Might be this one, there it is. So here you're getting some dimensionality and how the rectangle works around the sign and how we meet all of them.
They're building up.
Mhm.
We're also adding an arborvitae hedge here. As another row of landscaping to hide the exit of the drive-through and make the screening of the parking lot more appealing from when you're on James Street. As well as some additional drainage infrastructure that's planned in the middle of the island. So all of the runoff from the entire site is being captured and held here. So this is retention. This is to improve the Lake Creek watershed. The existing stormwater ties in and dumps into Lake Creek, which is already overflowing. So we're building some retention into the project to help relieve some of the already. You know, too full water flows. That's another
The hedge
benefit.
might also deter from confusion on where the entrance possibly is. You know, from people seeing the signs on the road.
Maybe discuss.
You wanna go one at a time?
So I think the sign you're asking for is a sign I wish that you had by right, because it's a sign we wish you would have. I had people enter in the plaza, they wanna know which way to go, straight, left or right, so I think that you could grant it, it's relatively small. It's the sign the building really needs.
Are you making a motion, Josh?
Oh, if there's other discussion, but
I don't have any other questions. Does anyone else have any?
I'm good.
make a motion to approve the sign variance.
What side of the building is that sign on?
The sign requesting
you
the
want.
variance,
Yeah.
is on the, we'll call it southwest
Easterly. Oh,
facade.
westerly. You're right.
West facade?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, with the building at like there's a project north. And then there's a true north, this is true north here, so yeah, we'll go southwest.
Where's magnetic? I'm just joking.
Do you wanna start with?
Well, Josh has already gone over the sign, so we got a motion by Josh to allow for one.
I'm sorry, we should have both.
Okay, it's okay.
The stacking seems an easier question.
We got a motion by Josh to allow for one additional attached sign on the southwest side of the building on a facade without a street access drive. Is there a second?
Second,
Is that Max?
Yeah.
Max. Let's discuss the criteria for this one. Will there be an undesirable change produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties created by granting the variance?
No,
No,
Safety. Benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance.
no,
The requested variance substantial,
yes, 3 signs is substantial.
three total sites.
and I would just add to that, because of the shape and size of the location of the property. And the fact that the two signs that they're entitled to face different streets, the third sign is necessary as a simple identification of the front entry point of the bay. Which justifies the third sign.
Can't be substantial but justified. Proposed variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
No,
I think you could also say that they're being improved with the project drainage that we're incorporating site.
See less difficulty self-created. All right, for the signage, got a motion by member Warbeck. To allow for one additional attached sign on the southwest side of the building on a facade without a street access drive, seconded by member Perrin. Call for a
It
vote.
doesn't have to be the street access drive, because they're getting the multi-tenant sign package, so it's just, that doesn't have.
I'll change it to the multi-tenant language thing, yeah. I'll look that up. Got that, Sharon?
Kind of.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it.
I'll send you the time.
No, it's okay, really okay. Alright. I got a motion by member Warbeck to allow for one additional attached sign on the southwest side of the building on a facade without blah, 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 seconded by member Perrin. Call for a vote, member Perrin,
yes.
member Del Posta,
Yes.
member Pascal,
Yes.
member Warbeck,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cornfeld,
Yes,
Chairperson O'Connor.
Yes,
Okay, signage passes 6-0. Want to talk about the stacking?
I'll make a motion to approve the,
I got to allow for stacking of 4 vehicles in a bank teller lane where the code requires a minimum stacking of 5 vehicles in the bank teller lane.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second? Second by Joe. Criteria. Will there be an undesirable change produced in the character of a neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties created by granting the variance?
No.
Some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance?
No,
He wants to stack 4.
right,
Is the requested variance substantial, 5-4?
No.
Will there be an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district?
no. They've identified that they have 25 transactions a day and stacking requirement occurrences only.
Last difficulty self-created.
Yes.
Yes.
Got a motion made by Chairperson O'Connor to allow for stacking of 4 vehicles in the bank teller lane where the DeWitt Code requires a minimum stacking of 5 vehicles in the bank teller lane, seconded by member Del Posta. Call for a vote, member Perrin,
Yes.
member Del Posta,
Yes.
member Pascal,
Yes.
member Warbeck.
Yes.
Vice Chair Cornfeld.
Yes.
Chairperson O'Connor,
Yes.
congratulations, Bill. Sorry about all that.
Hey,
Good
no
luck.
problem.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do have a decision, it goes back to the planning board.
I think we're ready, are we ready? Ready to go on to the second application for 4485 of Leah? Mr. or Mrs. Fernandez? Is anybody here to on this application? No. Are you willing to waive reading of the notice?
Let me get to your case here. Are you guys here for this application? Any application just here? Do you here for signatures? I see the JD, I see the JD. Smart to come to this meeting instead of the town board.
That's good stuff.
For Zoom. Should I handle this, Lana? Should I just?
What are you trying to
Unshare anything or just go like we're going on there?
do? Just share.
Right. We're reading the notice.
Yeah, I think we-
Okay, sorry about that, Delay. Go ahead. Okay,
Yeah, picture's the best, the easiest way to just kind of describe it, so. So when we bought the house, we just had this one little tiny narrow pull-in, just gravel, wasn't even a driveway or anything. And, you know, we had multiple vehicles, 47-foot camper, you know. We didn't really anticipate not, you know, how busy this traffic is. So when we're trying to back in this driveway, it causes chaos. When we're trying to back out, it causes anxiety. So we want to be able to, you know, pull in, turn around, drive out. You know, like I said, the kids' vehicles, be able to pull in, turn around, drive out, camper, pull it in, load it up, send it on its way. You know, we've multiple times we've seen people use it, already kind of use it as a pull off and get their bearings, turn around, pull out, which is fine. It's awesome. It's a busy road.
There's also like a little bit of hill on South Street right here where there's a blind spot too, so. Backing out is dangerous.
just wanna be, just for the board's sake. This shaded part right here, that's where you're requesting a curb cut?
No,
No.
no, this is
Shaded
grass.
part.
This
That's
is
just
grass.
grass.
This is where it says driveway, this right here, we gravelled this. We didn't, coming from Cicero, they didn't require anything for driveways, so we went ahead and we gravelled all this. And it worked great, and then we got a call from the town saying that it's not great, so that's why we're going through the motion. We
This
do
is the
have,
driveway though.
this is what they show to be the driveway
Yeah.
before, yeah.
And that's the curb cut right here.
And the curb cut's not changing or is it growing?
No, it's not changing, nothing's changing. This is the same place we drove in before. The only difference is that we stoned a big square.
So really, you're not asking for a curb cut. What you're
No.
asking for is an improved parking area or turnout.
Yeah.
That's greater than 12 by 18.
Yep.
And that the driveway isn't.
And that the driveway is not uniform, so I see 2 variances. The whole board sees what I'm seeing.
Now, we do have dreams of maybe
Yeah.
doing a garage or, you know, or an addition off the house that would make it more parallel to the driveway, but like I said, we just moved in and.
This is residential district. just so
What does the
board's
code
aware.
allow? What
The code allows for a single car garage. 10-foot curb cut, they're not changing that, so I think they're keeping that 10-foot curb
Right.
cut, that part's not violated.
You can get a turnaround of 12 by 18.
And they want 80 by 70.
There's 2 provisions that they're asking for, not just,
Does the turnaround have to be northerly or
It's gotta
southerly?
be on the side yard side, I do think it's on the right side of the,
It's on the side that they're proposing.
it's on the correct side, it's just
It's just-
bigger than
it's-
what the code
it's way bigger
allows.
than the code.
So I have this portion here. This would be the turnaround. What's the size of this? That's
80
by
it's
75.
80 by 75, not including the shade area, so that's just this box.
Yep.
Okay. So really, they wanna. Really get a calculator out, let's see.
It says the variance sought is 70 feet. Yeah,
Well,
somewhere.
That's not clear, the 70 foot would have been for a curb cut, now they don't need, now that we're talking to them and we're looking at it, they don't need a curb cut, and they're not asking for a curb cut. What they're
I
asking
think-
for is a non-uniform driveway that has a turnaround that's greater than 12 by 18 feet, so there's two variances.
Yeah.
Involved here, without cutting the curb.
Looking at Google Maps, assuming all those trees are gone,
Yeah.
Or that's 6,000 square feet, so right?
you're looking to do gravel or paved?
I mean, ideally, yeah, we'd love to pave it, but we stopped at the gravel when we found out that it was.
We've done,
12 by 18 is 216 square feet. And 80 times 75 is 6,000 square feet.
We wanna go this way.
To the right,
Yeah, so I think it's on the correct side of the driveway.
not in front of their house. which
If they
is-
did a 12 by 18 there, they could do it without me coming here. But this is a lot bigger than 12 by 18.
two questions, well, first the statement, campers are only allowed to be parked in driveways 10 days.
We load it up and then we send it up north, but at least 2 times a year, we have to have it at the house for, you know, a couple days. Just to get it loaded in and loaded out.
Okay, yeah, you get 10 days a year. We've had complaints that this is being used for work vehicles and trucks and things like that. Can you speak to that, please?
Well, we had, the work vehicles there when they were putting all the gravel on.
And we just put a pool in.
Yep.
Back here, so there was a lot of heavy equipment trucks. As far as like our company, I mean, we have vehicles that are lettered up, but they're ours, you know, for the house. We don't have like a. How many are lettered up vehicles?
One,
Yeah, we
Just
have
one.
the one van, but then we had, you know, I had my pickup truck or car,
our personal.
yeah, personal vehicles.
So in total, how many vehicles do you have on a daily basis there?
5, 4, well, 4, my son comes sometimes, but.
And our other son is 15, so, you know, give it a couple months and there's gonna be another one.
So 5 or 6
Yeah,
cars?
5 to 6, I would say, for sure.
Neighbors that signed a petition that believe this is in favor.
Yeah, so and those are all our direct neighbors, so across the street and down the 2 sides.
This is from a neighbor opposing.
Carol.
I'll see.
um,
Just so the board's aware, there's some conflicting opinions.
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to hide the fact that we are a construction company, but we're not that kind of company. We're just a husband and wife. We have a trailer hooked to the truck and our tools are in the garage. We don't build anything there. We don't manufacture anything. We just remodel a few things.
Need more space to park as well.
Yeah, well, like I said, and the biggest thing is. I don't wanna back out. I don't want her to back out. I don't want the kids to have to back out. You know, it's your.
Do any of your neighbors have unusual driveways?
Yeah, I think she
I put
attached pictures.
in there.
Oh, let me see, sorry.
And it's nice too. I mean, it is a busy road. We
I don't
both have
think there's
very
any
large families too.
Pictures?
For holidays, it gets kind of tough. You know,
You can flip through them, but I don't think there's any there.
Pictures?
Yeah, there should have been, on that USB.
do you have the USB cord report that we sent it? Find it on Google. I might be able to find it on the Google here.
I'm looking at Google now, would it be out your driveway and to the right?
Yeah, I think, well, there's one out to
Right
the right.
across the
There's
street.
one straight across, his driveway's kind of funky. The one 2 doors down that's for sale, that 4-person house, I mean, they got like a big parking lot, there was obviously something that used to be some kind of store there.
It's right in the edge of the business and residential there, so it's a little.
Yeah, you know,
But the one right.
but the driveway, I'm saying,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just that weird, it's that where our zones, it's like coming in. You're barely in the residential zone there.
So it sounds like the one across the street was done by the state. Yeah. As part of an easement.
How far over beyond these trees is it gonna go? So the trees.
So the
will
trees are all
be-
gone, those trees were just like, they were dead and dropping, one of them fell on my truck.
They want-
So you wanna go all the way,
Those trees are going there, here you're talking about?
yeah, so those are all gone, right?
What are you saying?
And then it'd be the whole way.
It'd be-
No.
It wouldn't be the curb cut, it would be into the curb cut of 10 feet there, and then it would be like a box, it'd be like a big turnaround.
So there's quite, so there's grass right here, and there's quite a bit of yard still right here around this,
So you're gonna go
That's
this
real
way,
lane.
right?
Then they can turn around and you can always exit, I think what they're saying is you can always exit facing the street.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that's,
Matt, do you wanna pull up Connect Explorer and look at aerials?
They're testing me tonight.
There should be like a, if you move that bar to the bottom,
I just,
there should be like a.
because that's
board,
a
I
piece
think.
of road,
That's a very good.
right, like
So just
being
get-
able to turn
yeah.
around is a safety issue.
Question is how big you allow
Right.
the extended space.
It's more than.
Do I need to log in?
More than a turnaround.
No, it's already logged in. They just go to the right
But how do you tell people you can't have?
and change that to search by address.
Right?
4485? Is it gonna be fully on here or south?
It's out.
I noticed it is south, it really confused me.
Yeah, moved it, yeah.
Still, I'm-
Either one of them.
In your driveway.
What could be in the backyard?
I think our neighbors have it.
Say South
Street. Out a lot more than 10 days.
On the side of the road.
That's gotta be done.
Yes.
yeah, so if you pull over a little bit like that,
Not good with this guy, so it's not good.
Just click on it and move it,
That's the lawyer, there he is.
and then zoom out a little. There we go.
That's his parcel, that's his house, these are the trees that are now gone, here's the original driveway they're talking about, and it's gonna be right here.
Right where the trees
Right
are.
to the corner of the lot here,
no, not all the way, no, there's a good,
And that's a federal wetland.
this,
Where?
this here.
right here.
Yeah.
Behind it.
Yeah, the squares aren't always perfect, yeah, it should be here.
Hope so, cause
The only
I'm
thing
cool
we're
with that
looking at
way.
is
But, I mean, when
essentially
you
the
look at
size.
What you're looking at is two things, number one is they're requesting, in the town, you have to have it in a residential. To a residential garage, you gotta have it be the same width, so they're requesting one for it not to be uniform, they're gonna drive in here where it's 10 feet, they're gonna have a turnaround here. That's gonna keep extending, so it's that kind of shape here.
Which right now, it's already not like that, because our garage, if you wanna call it that, is right here facing that way.
I mean, I will say, like, looking at this
So now
picture,
it's like angled like that.
both,
Going,
both neighbors have driveways for two.
that's turnarounds, which is not that big,
They're not that big. I don't know if you could turn around, but
or are those just their driveways?
it's bigger. It's not, it's a two car.
If they have a two-car garage, then they're entitled to.
If you have two-car garages, you can do 18
A wider
feet.
driveway.
That, okay, so that one definitely has it. This one just looks like a park. I don't see a garage at all. I mean, I could be wrong. I can't
Looks like
see the
two
whole thing,
cars.
but do you see that?
Design though, yeah.
Explain what, you said 5 or 6 vehicles, what those are all, like how many of those are personal and how many of those are for your business?
So,
One is for the business. commercial.
With the trailer.
which the trailers also use personally.
Right.
50, I guess.
So but you said that more than one are marked. As
Only thing lettered up is the van. There's a van that's lettered up Team Dane. That's the one vehicle that she's talking about.
So from the perspective of a passerby, they could think it's two commercially owned or business owned vehicles.
I mean, to me, I would think that this company's either working on this house or they live there. And I've run into customers, we're new to Janesville, we're getting a lot of customers in the area. And I've had customers be like, hey, are you guys working on that house? And we're like, oh, we own it. Oh, that's awesome, we see it all the time. Oh, that's nice. But yeah, we don't have a sign up or anything. Or no, we have one of those like picket signs. Take that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not allowed to run a commercial business out of a residential.
And whether or not they are, there's a matter of perception too. You know, could we will count for precedent as well, you know?
And we didn't know we were gonna move into this house until he designed a closet as big as this room, and then we decided to move in. We were gonna flip it, that's why the sign was on the road, that's why the trucks were all there, we were building, the company was flipping this house. And then we decided to move into the house, put in a pool, throw some roots down. We need a bigger driveway. We'd love to have a garage. We've talked to the town, we'd love to have either build an addition off of here. Or put a freestanding garage, but obviously, it's gonna be down the road. And obviously it'd be something you guys would hear about anyway. But really, as far as the neighborhood, I mean, my guy across the street here, he used our driveway while his driveway got sealed. Him and his tenants, it's a rental, they all parked in our big parking lot. And we had an ambulance pull in there the other day, had a guy stop and change a tire in there the other day. I mean, I'm cool with all that, it's a busy road, it's scary, it's there.
Yeah, I thought so, that I actually, we have ring door cameras, so I took the pictures of that when they went in too. And I put that on the flash drive.
Do you think there's a safety concern, but the size to me seems.
It's purely just enough to pull, to pull in without having to move and shake a bunch of people around.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that everyone else who lives on this street is gonna see what we grant for you, and then we have to be,
I am,
so we have to have a reason,
And not just in Janesville either.
right? But this road, I can see the need, especially with young drivers, to be able to turn, yeah.
And it is consistent with what's going on with the other houses on the street.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
They're not
looking
doing
at it,
anything- They're not doing anything out of whack,
no,
so that's good, but it is bigger than I think.
What size are they allowed? How much bigger are they?
12 by 18 is 216 square feet.
Where are they?
For 6,000 square. 80 by 75. A lot bigger.
Say those numbers one.
216 square feet for 6,000.
So 5,000.
A lot extra, it's a lot bigger.
Is there a way to do what you guys are trying to accomplish by making it smaller?
I mean, like I said, we picked that side because. We just mostly, like I said, the camper, getting the camper in and out of there. If
How
there's
long
other
is the
people,
camper?
47 feet,
47.
It's a huge.
yeah.
So I mean, like 50 by 40 would work too, instead of 80 by 75.
But y'all, obviously, it's a perfect world, right? You have enough room to do all this stuff and keep your vehicles, so you're not out there, having to move 6 vehicles, blocking traffic, pulling the camper. Move 6 vehicles back, just trying to avoid all that. The way it is right now, we haven't had any issues as far as the flow of traffic. We haven't stopped traffic, we're in, we're out, we don't bother anybody.
Times your one.
Do you know the speed limit?
30. You're gonna give me a speeding ticket.
No, I'm just wondering what it's.
I think it's
55 or 30.
I think it's 35 at that point.
Until you get out enough.
So like she said, there's a blind spot, pretty good coming down this way.
It's right when you go in the hamlet, right? Pretty close.
Yeah, the gas station's right there. So obviously your morning and your afternoon,
It's just the gas station, the Janesville gas station that is right here. You go down to Poolia. So it's kind of at the start of Poolia. You could go all the way down to.
and to be honest with you, like with the guy that we bought it from, I mean, he had a camper sitting out back. It was in all the Google pictures, it was there forever, he had cars parked all over here too, and we didn't really know.
It was only there for 3 days. So I don't think
it's not the camper, yeah,
that it is what it is with camera.
The camper's in the picture
Cameras in the picture?
on Zillow, yeah,
On
you wanna
Zillow?
see it?
Oh, I see what
Is it the previous owner?
It's the, yeah.
That doesn't look like a 50-foot camper, is it?
No, it's.
No,
It's the old.
Oh, okay.
That's a six.
But I mean,
The camper should be being loaded and unloaded in the course of a couple of days, it could park, well, you know, line perpendicular to the highway, so.
yeah, it's just tricky moving it around, that's big.
It's tricky moving that around anywhere you go.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Well, and just navigating all the vehicles anyway, getting in and out, like I said, we just, you know, we had family in for the holidays. Italian family, I mean, it was huge, we didn't disrupt anybody, everybody was in the driveway. Everybody flowed perfect, you know. Not that, you know, I wish everybody could have their whole family over there, but can't speak for their driveways, I'm just trying to get this. And like I said, we, you know, we do wanna do more to the house and to the property, but we just wanna get settled in, get our bearings, and do what we can do.
The uniform width variance, I think, is secondary, the primary variance here is. Turnaround, whether you're gonna allow it one, they can't have 12/18 already, whether you're gonna allow over 12/18 or not, and to what extent. So if you are gonna allow it, there would be some condition that says it can be X. Square footage and size.
Now, is there any difference to your guys' decision based on if we kept it stone and didn't pave it, cause then it's kind of semi-temporary anyway?
Don't think so, because it's still driveway, still driveway to a residential house. The code doesn't talk about pavement now, it talks about driveway.
I noticed, interesting observation here, so the letter. From the woman who's opposed, Catherine Bolsey, is a resident of. 4496. And a John Bolsey of 4496 appears on the list of neighbors in support of the project.
Her husband.
Presumably, yes.
That is interesting.
Yeah, it should
It really
already.
is.
It was as plain as could be.
It wasn't this letter.
They have gravel, 50/75, they have all this area gravel, they're using it like this already. All gravel, trees are
It's
going
done,
up.
yeah, they've already
It's
done,
done.
the rest of it forgive.
Typically, you'd have a turnaround, you'd come in the curb cut, you'd have a turnaround like this, and you could turn around and park a car there, so you'd have one car here and another car here, and a turnaround. This would allow for, you pull in and I guess you
We
park here.
approve the A-OK of the turnaround.
You don't have to approve a turnaround, but you have to approve a turnaround of this size, so they could do a 12/18 without coming here. So they want more than 12/18, the board's gotta say, okay, you don't allow anything over 12/18, if so, how, you know, the minimum that. You know, we're looking at what the minimum variance is to allow. So
That's what we're deciding.
what do they need and what's the minimum to achieve that? If you don't feel they should have a turnaround bigger than 12/18, you would deny. So a few things to consider.
We come to agreement that it probably needs to be bigger than 12/18 or not.
For the board to discuss.
In my opinion, I'm okay with the turnaround. Because of the street and the safety concerns being just
Get in and out of the driveway.
to get in and out of the driveway, to have young drivers get safely out of the driveway. And they have those vehicles. To have those vehicles moving in and out onto the main street could create an issue in and of itself. I'm not okay with the requested size because it's basically like a commercial. And we can't. In my opinion, I think that would be setting a bad.
It's probably bigger than the one for the bank we just reviewed before this.
And there's some
That's what you're
concern,
Yeah.
there's some concern from some neighbors. I know some of your neighbors are approving it, but some neighbors have concerns. So I think we have
Well,
to,
that might have been, so if that's, the person who wrote the letter, her husband's name is on the pro petition. They wrote the letter back when we first did this was when we first were there, thinking that we weren't even living there. I think that maybe that might have just been a shock. I don't know if that letter's dated, but I'm saying,
We just got.
Yeah,
oh,
5 days ago.
well, he just signed it like 2 days ago.
No, she She wrote it, she's listed, he's not. I know, and they recognize, the letter states that you've done an admirable job and renovated the long vacant house.
Just getting that.
Is there, searching for compromise, is there a smaller size?
You tell us what we can have and that's what we're gonna have. Now, my only question is, do I have to scrape out the extra stone or can I just let the grass grow? We're gonna pave what we want to do.
Yes, you would have to restore it.
How can I still park on it?
No,
What is that size? Is it, what's that size? Is it above 12 by 18?
It's gonna be more than 12 by 18. They
Yeah.
got, they got more going on here. So I don't know how everybody else feels. I don't know.
I'm okay with more than 12 by 18. I also think neighbors have more than 12 by 18, it looks like from the pictures.
What about the
Um,
length of the camper both ways? It's 47, 47.
wait, what is
Or
it?
50 by 50.
Talking about,
At least that allows them to maneuver the camper safely in and out.
That's 5 times longer.
yeah, but the camper's only there for a few days in the year, so you're gonna have a parking lot. For a camper, that's never there.
But you still have, still able to shuffle out several cars.
Yeah, this way, 50 by 50, 25 square feet, where the code allows 216,
So
so.
massive.
The zoning board,
It's less than 6,000.
it's less than 6,000, but the zoning board's gonna consider what's the minimum that they can allow to give the applicant benefit.
But I mean, look at the neighbors though, this isn't like DeWitt Shire.
It's not like the wood shop.
These houses are spread out, it's in an open space.
Far from the property line.
It's different,
Yeah, I mean, the neighbors are not gonna be surprised by having a little more space than 12 by 18.
Correct.
So,
Imagine some people, in this case, would probably be parking in their grass if it wasn't. You know, at least
Wait,
there's a
what?
set.
Oh, you mean you think people are parking on their grass now?
I imagine if someone was dealt with this situation in a similar case, there would just be cars all over the lawn.
Do we have anything else? No.
That's just an assumption, simply an assumption.
Well, have you seen a variance?
We've seen driveways be extended, I think we did one a couple. But we've extended them by 8 feet for curb cut. We did a turnaround on Linden Road. That we allowed. But it was different, it was a circle in front of the house there, if you recall.
Oh, yeah.
That was in front and that allowed
But
them
that
to
was
go
like,
roundabout
yeah.
in front of the house. Again, what different area of town, you know, you can't compare Linden.
That's in like Wiltshire.
To, yeah, that was in Linden. That was Chris Clark, so. The board has allowed driveways before, they've not allowed something that's like 50 by 50 driveway, I've never seen that. Not to say that it can't, but
It's 12 by 10 would be the.
12 by 18.
12 by 18 would be,
Yeah, so, yeah, just, yeah.
so if you're thinking, you know, what would you allow other people, is it 20
You
by
allow
20?
double that
Is
or
it 30
triple
by
that?
30? It's hard to conceptualize, and it's hard to say, that's what 30 by 30 looks like, and that's what they can use.
But do we, I mean, and just in my opinion, do you think that if you guys did approve it, let's just say, shot in the dark, you approved it the way it is right now, because everything's working and there's no harm, right? If you did that, do you guys think that you're gonna get 1 million calls this week about people wanting?
We have people all over town who wanna have bigger driveways, and they wanna park their cars on the side and they wanna turn around and leave and not.
Cause we did,
It's something that we get a lot of.
And we deny them a lot.
And there's a lot that are denied
Yeah.
because of the precedent that's, it has nothing to do with yours and whether or not this is a good idea for you and safe for your neighbors, and it's all well and good. But then when someone else all the way down the Puglia comes in and says, it might be a totally different situation with different neighbors, and they're saying, hey.
Well, once you get past
Kane's
about
got
this
a
house,
parking lot over there, we can't have one, that's where we're gonna be.
once you get past like this house here though, you're in the country. These guys, they park their cars all over the place.
And I mean, it could be anywhere in
Leave
Jason.
DeWitt pretty quickly too.
What's that?
Leave DeWitt is.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
That's a different town.
No, I know, I'm just saying
I
like,
mean, his point is character of the neighborhood. Right?
yeah.
Like, right, when you don't come down the street, what he's asking for is not inconsistent with what other people on his street have or are doing. I mean, I'm 6,000 is a little big. But so I'm open to something, some sort of variance.
What about without the camper? Forget the camper, you know, what for the other vehicles? What length is getting you to be able to park them on the side of the driveway there, so you can back out and then turn and leave front forward,
What do we usually come for a vehicle, 10 feet or 12 feet?
12 feet.
12.
Well, a parking stall is
Parking
9,
space.
right? So a parking stall, you say 10 would be a big parking stall. 12 is like enough for a nice space for one car probably. Probably
What's
not
their
too
length?
much.
It's, what's that, 12 by
Wait.
8?
But I'm guessing he's gonna have,
12
he would have to park this way. He'd be parking his cars this way
Yeah,
in the turnaround and then backing them out here and then leaving.
so
To me, that makes sense.
so what's 2 car widths?
This way.
So a parking space,
Is,
a stall, the requirement is 9 ft 6 in by 19 feet.
okay, so if we did
In a
40 by
parking
10,
So 9.6 by 19.
Yes.
So if
9.5
we,
by 19.
19 is so long for a parking
9.5.
spot,
If you did 40 by 20,
Well,
say.
these are, you're talking, these are commercial
Or
parking
double.
spaces.
double lane? What's a residential one?
There is no residential. Residential just says you have to provide 2 parking spaces.
so 19 point,
If you did
The car's
20.
not 20 feet long.
so then 4, you
You're trying
really
to
want
say-
20 by
and
40,
Back to
right?
back here, you're trying to pull in and go like two.
I was saying 2 car widths deep times 4, like
Well, 2
4 times 2 or something.
So 2 cars with that
860,
measurement is
32.
20 by 40.
What did you say?
The numbers that we just got for the commercial parking spot, 9.6 times 19 is 20 by 40.
So it'd be 40 long and 20 this way. So you'd be able to park with the camper. I don't know what we can, I don't think you can do a
I
variance.
don't think we can
to
do
the
a variance.
camper when it's not
Yeah.
there that often, then.
Well,
So
it's not allowed to be there.
it's not allowed to be there more than 10 days. So really, it's
Right.
it's never going to be there unless you get some another variance for that. But
So doubling
I
it,
don't think-
making 4 spots
so, yeah.
basically is 20 by 40, which I think is still really large.
it is still really large, but it's, now you're talking 800 square feet and you're not, you're talking about a 500 something square foot variance instead of 5,000. It's a lot smaller than what they're asking for, but if they're able to pull in and park a couple cars,
So that would be 2 and 2, right?
how many cars do you wanna allow?
5, they have 5 cars.
20 doesn't really make sense though, because a car's not 20 feet. I know from the definition is different, a car is what, 10
I
feet?
think it could
Well,
be,
they have a truck, they have,
But how long is a truck? It's not 20 feet still.
I would think it should be at 1 car length, like horizontal there.
I was saying
So you
2
pull
deep
in-
for 4 car
You're
lengths.
describing that.
So you'd have 4 times, you'd have 8 extra spots.
I'm describing,
did you just?
I'm describing what Matt, that's what I'm describing, yes.
Yeah, that's what yeah, but are these 2 lengths typically?
Oh, so that you're
How long is
talking
it from
about like
here
a
to here?
He's talking about
pull-in,
pulling.
and then, yeah, and then.
No, so you can double park.
Yeah,
I think that's what
I would do
you're
20
trying
feet deep, 20 deep, 20 feet by 40 like that.
So you can do,
So you do 2
Car,
cars,
car.
you'd have enough spaces for 2, 4, 6,
You'd
8
still be
cars.
playing Tetris, but you have.
Yeah.
Room for.
That's still a parking lot. That's more than a turnaround.
I mean, yeah, you can only put 2 cars in my,
Like, yeah, me too.
so
But I'm in a much different.
I am too.
I'd say either way you
We
do
thought
it.
this was more country. This guy's got a tractor,
It
this
is.
guy's got a tractor, they got sheds, tents, trailers. I mean, we didn't really think that this was gonna be,
Well, you
Well,
don't-
you're
one
doing
out-
the
one
right
neighbor-
thing, so, you know.
one neighbor writes a letter out of how many people in the neighborhood, and,
There's a lot of deliberation, because this is not a variance that, or request that we receive
yeah.
often, at all for this size of a
See,
parking
it's
lot.
up, that's just one,
Yeah,
one in a
residential.
million, won't come back to hide.
I think the board has intimated that the 80 by 75 is too big.
It's
but-
too big.
But to have a compromise that lets you live your life, and be safe is, I think, what the zoning board is talking about. If you had what Josh is describing, where it's gonna be a lot smaller than what you're talking about, but if you had a car here and a car here parked, does that help you?
Like I said, we're at the mercy of what you guys say we can have. What we have now works. If we
Because if you
can't
do
have
that,
then
it doesn't even
you
help
gotta
them,
tell
if
us.
they're playing, and they're, then.
Yeah, I think that's what, I think he's saying anything helps, so.
Cause we don't, the other problem is too, so like, we don't know where our
It makes it
septic
doable
tank
to me.
is right here. It's literally like, it's hard to see, but it's, this is the garage, you can kind of see a little driveway right here,
Yeah.
okay? In between the
Yeah,
driveway
I'd still
and
go
that
to
dot,
just as a added present.
Where's your
you
leach
know.
field?
so
don't know.
we had the, this was here
area
already,
from
right?
other areas.
So we had, I found the J box to the leach field right here. We had a snake to this point here, so it goes underneath the active driveway already. That's why we kept our parking lot way up here. so that we were nowhere near that J box or that septic tank. So that pretty much, so even when we did the pool, like, we were nervous, because we had to drive right through all this to put this pool in. And going to do a shed, bring in the trailer, so we got like one of those little tent sheds, you know? I threw my lawnmower and four-wheeler in there, I had to bring the trailer in to get those in. Terrified to back up any farther than where we put that stone, because we don't know where any of that stuff is.
Are you looking to pave this driveway?
I mean, we had a perfect world, we would have paved it, but we don't have to pave it. I mean, I don't even have to upkeep it, it can be grass, we just wanna be able to do our thing and not anger anybody.
I wonder if they use that for health department office if they don't know what each field is.
I don't know anything about leach fields.
Well, it's a three, so what I've learned in septic is it's a three bay tank. Okay, so in some cases, you don't need leach fields because it breaks down
And I
in
think
3
they
ways.
can grant the permit
Hold on, I
variance
just
based
wanna-
on permit approval too.
So I don't think you could pave over septic.
No,
No,
and that's why we're nowhere near
that's
it,
why it's
like all our driveways way up here, we stand right away from that tank and right away from that J box. But if that, what I'm getting at, if that J box may not go to the leach field, because this system could break down into 3 bays, it's huge, it's the biggest tank I've ever seen.
You can see on the survey where the septic vent is, and it's literally, the J box is like right here.
But we can't do any turning around or any of that stuff back in front of our garage. You know, we have to be up here.
I think if you have the stalls here, I hate saying stalls, if you have the area here where you can pull to the side of this, and then back out.
So that's the box, right? It's got that close to your house.
One car link that
Yeah,
way.
it's right there.
And
You're talking about like this.
We didn't even know, like.
I'm talking about like this way there.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
So that's like you drive in and then there's parking lot. So then the person,
But it wouldn't be striped or anything, it was just, no, it's just gonna be.
but then
I would be a little.
when you back,
For you guys.
when you back out, you still go out of the driveway in front face.
Yeah, I don't know.
Every time you leave front.
Just enough to show.
I mean, I find it.
Reverse out.
That's
Can't
the guy
really
that's
think of
doing Blues was like, yeah, that's interesting that this thing's so
Yeah,
big.
so that,
Because I think
and what
what's
size is
interesting
that?
is just parking wherever they want
What do you
on
think
the
that's?
property.
It's gonna
Where are they
be-
placed?
Well, and I think-
Yeah, well, no, I mean,
The size of the turnaround.
But I mean,
That's 20.
he can still drive it,
That's
right? That's not.
We're talking about
Going into
a 20 by 10
Sewer,
was
so
big.
sewer, city sewer, right here.
Do you think that
That's
makes
20 by
sense?
10
Literally right
times
across the
4.
bank.
That's
But
why.
we think it's.
This neighbor told us that they shot it down and they moved it down.
Yeah, that's not.
I know.
It's not our front yard, you know, like a lot of people have their
That J box could be.
front yard.
So, you know, 9 times 4. It's 36
Like,
feet.
sorry.
You guys willing to keep,
This part.
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
We opened this
the length of the car.
before you did it, you wanted to be, because I mean, it.
Yeah, it would be pretty tight to be able to. Back in or out and with. I mean, that's
Cause you back out,
that's would be very hard.
so you need longer, so you need more than.
I only put 20 because that's the number we were throwing around when we were talking about commercial sizes.
What's the gas marker?
That yellow pipe. I'm assuming that's something.
That's still-
That's
that's-
that's actually in this grass area.
I did, sorry, Jamie. Plug him in.
Yeah, 'cause that's still above. The code, but. You could argue it's reasonable. Something to work with.
What we're talking about, sir, is the type, like something like this, something where you have. A few spots where you could pull into, and we're just talking about the dimensions, through up to 1 buildings, that's what we're talking about for a commercial size parking spot.
So what is this
That's like,
space here?
that would be like
You'd be
where you
going
would
in
park your
there,
cars.
No, I'm saying what's the distance? You're-
Well, a standard driveway is 8, I think, right, that's what.
10,
Oh, it's 10.
9.6.
10 feet wide.
So it would be 30. it'd be 10.
be 10 feet, so the turnaround would be 20 by 36. Pretty sure, 40.
Cause it's allowed for allowed for 2 cars.
It would be for more cars, they've got 5 cars, including the camper, is what I'm hearing, the camper's not always there, so they have 4 cars, so they. They'd be able to park one beyond, right, beyond the turnaround, and then have 4 cars there. And you can pull out, back out, and leave the premises.
Did you say you have a garage there? Is that?
So then they call this, there's like a little there's a little bump out right here,
You parking
facing
in there?
that way.
No,
I mean, you could if you moved everything out of it.
Right, it's full.
But you couldn't, but like I was just telling her, I don't know if you guys heard that. So we don't know, there's a big giant septic tank literally right up against our house. It's right in this little nook, kind of like where this green dot would be, if you were to spin it around. It's right there. There's a line
In front of the garage?
in front of the house, yeah, it's right in front of the, it's in between the house and whatever this driveway was, it takes up this entire area. Right in front of the house. And then there's a line that goes underneath that driveway.
See.
So there's the garage right here, this little bump out right here.
there's a septic
And
tank
there's,
right there.
and there, this is all septic right here.
It goes, actually goes underneath right through here too.
So that's why we kept, everything we were doing, we kept.
So you don't drive past here. You
No.
were just
We
talking
drive
about
out,
it for
yeah.
the pool that you
Yeah.
did for the pool, but generally you're not going to the garage. You're not
No.
getting there.
We
So
do
you're
our best
parking,
to stay out.
you're not gonna be using your garage for parking realistically for a while.
That's what I said.
20 by 40.
20 by 40.
Which would give, if that driveway's 10 feet long, that you got 30 feet for turnaround space, it's not 40 long.
Yeah.
It's the scale of it though, it's only like an eighth of what it's supposed
It looks a lot more residential.
to. Maybe a little bit bigger, but. I'm fucked that it's a huge parking lot, it's a massive variance request, but given the character of the neighborhood, it's not a heavy lift. So I wanna do something, but I can't support 80 by 75.
If you wanna
I could
support,
probably support half of that.
if you wanna support what you're supporting, then maybe
No,
make
no,
one.
no, I'm already making one. I think I'm probably getting. This might even be too aggressive for someone.
Thought it was more
How
like.
big is it?
I don't know.
I would say.
Total house
So they
12
want
by
80
18,
this way?
they're asking, they're saying 20 by 40.
I'd just do 25% of that at 20 width, and they want 75 this way, call it 80 that way, I would do half of that at 40, 20 by 40. And I'd prefer it to be away from the main road a little bit,
Yeah, I agree.
northern, or so whatever distance that is on the survey,
Gives them an area that's not massive.
40 by 20 variance.
This
Plus,
isn't to scale, I think, because the gas marker, he was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not-
Gas markers up here,
And the manholes up.
and this manhole is over here. And our door, you know, our entry door. Is probably like right here.
maybe that would be helpful if you really want us, because to have us some scale drawings to show us what it looks like, because that looks like a entire front yard. That would require another meeting.
You know what that line there that we think is the end of that's the center line of South Street. That's why,
The house is 33.
so I don't know what the road right of way is there, but that's not their property line, that's the road center line. So they should,
Oh.
the survey is. I think they used to do
The
that.
road
like
is
that.
fine.
So you're saying 20 by 40, just like this.
In the house is 33 along the bottom, boundary at the bottom right there, so it'd be a little bit more than that house width off the driveway. Try to grab something that's to scale.
Well, the pictures on,
Oh, you're right, go to Google. and
go to
draw it, that's a good
Zillow
idea.
and look at type in the address in Google and it'll show Zillow and you'll be able to see what is there now.
I go to my maps so I can draw it already.
So you would need to be able to go in and go right. That's what you said.
Yeah. 20 by 40 on the right.
20 by 40 on the
So it's
right.
big enough that they can use it and it's not a waste and not as big as what they're requesting.
It's 4485. That's what,
This is another thing too, just an example why we picked what we picked. So this is the previous owner, they actually had like stone brought in way over here by this bridge. And they were using this as a drive, they were driving in, before we lived there, and they were driving in and driving all around those trees and using this like a big U shape.
Like a
And that's not
turnaround.
center.
well,
That
that's,
can't be
You know what I mean? And this was all in between there and there was all like, it was like mud, it was bad, it was mud. So that's why we were like,
yeah.
you know, that's the only reason we picked that distance going that.
The nice thing about it, doing a smaller lot too, is that as you live there for a couple of years and you decide to put in something else, you can come back to us and be like, this is what worked and this is what didn't work, rather than just giving a huge 6,000 foot space and then, you know, deciding you may want to do something else later on. How you arrange some sort of garage or whatever, because I can imagine you may not want the garage on that side,
Well, with the wetlands going through there, we didn't even know that there was wetlands going through there, so that kind of put a wrench in.
But you may not want the garage next to the house, you might eventually want the garage where these cars are parked. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that,
I see what you.
like, we can do this incrementally,
You can't do a garage in the front yard. The detached garage in the front yard.
even if he pushes it towards the back, where that 80 number is.
If it's a
Past
detached,
the front line.
if it's detached, it needs to be in the rear yard.
So it would have to be
Then
behind,
it's an
it would have to be behind this line here.
It has to
Then
be
you'd have a
detached
problem because of that,
for a detached garage.
The wetland.
the wetland.
If you want it closer to the road, it would have to be attached.
Yeah.
Also, I just measured the right of way on Connect Explorer. It looks like it's like around 40 feet right of way, so their property starts about 20 feet off the center line there.
Is that about where that manhole is?
This, oh,
So probably the manhole, that stuff is probably in the county right of way, and it is a county right of way, so any work done within the right of way would need a highway work permit from county DOT.
so you're saying this line's not the road?
That's the center line of the road. That's the center of the road,
So when it's at, how high is the road, 90? 40?
or
45.
roughly 40 feet.
So it's
So-
20 northerly of there, it's 27.
So if we were to approve 20 by 40, are we infringing on any of those?
We can move it up
It's
and
hard
down.
to tell
It's hard
without
to
seeing
tell.
it to scale.
Yeah. Maybe, I mean, I don't know what your, yeah, I think, you know,
The table it.
What is that measurement? Is it 86 back to the house?
If honestly, if we're gonna table it, then I don't even think the driveway's 80 by 75, that seems big. If we're gonna come back, I'll get it to scale.
I think we need to be able to see.
It's hard for us to conceptualize it.
Is that
Oh, yeah.
86 your front
Maybe you're not
yard
even asking for 80 to 75.
from the
Yeah.
road center line to the house?
Possibly,
Is that the
possibly
86?
not even asking.
This right here?
Yeah.
It seems enormous, it seems like a Wegmans
You
parking
read
lot.
that?
Maybe 58.
58?
I don't know, it looks like kind of looks like.
You have to scale, it might show that you're not requesting what we think you're requesting, that you're actually requesting something smaller.
Google.
Yeah.
goes-
I mean, would you be willing
No
to
way.
consider that?
Yeah,
Would you be willing to consider coming
Give us
back?
a scale.
Rather than us approving something that's not.
We're not that bad here, you know, I think we want to help, but we want to be reasonable too.
I wanna be reasonable, but I
No, I
also
appreciate
think we need to see, I can't tell, and I'm worried that we would.
This is all really
Approving
confusing.
something worthless or approving something that's not allowed.
Like, can you come look at this and see what 80 feet looks like and tell us if that's what you've actually put down? That yellow line from there to there is 80 feet.
No, so we're like closer to the edge of that, cause like I said, we saw that they had stone here. So we brought the driveway over to there and then the town code enforcement was like, oh yeah, they.
You're right, he's probably 75 feet then.
70
Yeah, he's probably that big, it is pretty big, yeah.
Do you have a more recent survey? The date on this says 23. Oh,
That's the one they
is
gave
this
us
the
when we
recent?
bought it.
We just bought it in December.
Okay.
Last year.
I mean, that's how does everybody, if you're willing to do that, would that be helpful to
We'll put you
everyone?
first on the next agenda.
Yeah.
So that we're talking about next month.
Yes.
About January,
If you could deliver a scaled version of the survey to us, we could use a ruler and actually measure and draw it. So your surveyor should produce that for us to use. Then we can modify it.
Yeah,
It
we
needs
can-
to scale.
and we can give you a more accurate number of
We're
what,
firing from the hip a little bit.
yeah.
Make sure everything's out of the county right away.
Because if we're granting too big of a variance than we need to, then we're creating precedent that we don't even have to. We don't even have to do, you know,
Right.
it's not that bad.
It might not, right. It might be helpful for you as well.
Helpful
as
for
us.
everybody.
Yeah,
You know,
but I mean, it's a month from now.
as long as you're okay with coming back, we'll put you first. It shouldn't be too long and the board already knows about your case. And go from there.
Sounds like good.
One motion to table.
Yes, I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Opposed, staying, motion's carried. Okay, we'll see you in January.
Thanks,
We'll let you
guys.
know.
Sorry,
No,
thank
no, we
you.
Appreciate you coming.
Have a good holiday.
You too, Merry Christmas, everybody.
I bet you.
A third of that size is what they actually need.
What? Well, I'm
So it's-
worried that
If it is past that car,
Oh, yeah.
we're getting
And it says
into
it's
something we don't have a right
Yeah,
to
it's
get into.
it's huge.
Leave all, and leave,
do a quarter of that.
You have to
Or a third.
end the meeting first.
and meeting for all.